and welcome to today's video. I will be sharing with you 5 tips for traveling vegan in a non-vegan family. Now, I could give you like 20 tips that will be helpful, but it will be like a lot of repetitive stuff. So I narrowed it down to the top 5 that are very helpful and will make traveling vegan in a non-vegan family less stressful. Now for me, traveling vegan was what kept me from going vegan for the longest time because I was very, very, very worried about not being able to find food and how it would work if my family went to a place that didn't have vegan food, like what I'd eat. So these are tips to make traveling way less stressful and more enjoyable. So tip number 5 is bring food with you. So before you go, pack food, and food that you can make or that's already edible, whatever. So granola bars are you should always carry one around just in case you get hungry and you don't have a place near you with vegan food. Stuff like instant oatmeal, sure, it's not always the best, but it does fill you up. So, and a hack is, if you have in your hotel room or your condo or whatever, there's a drip coffee filler. If you fill it up with water and don't put coffee in, it'll boil out, I guess, shoot out not warm, but boiling water that will heat up the oatmeal. So that's cool and very helpful in my opinion. And microwave meals. A lot of times they don't have the best quality and some of the ingredients are a tad iffy, but it is a meal if you don't get food because nowhere has it. So it is good to bring microwave meals as well. Tip number 4, read labels and Google Translate. So a lot of times it's easy when you're traveling abroad to assume, oh yeah, this is vegan where I live, this will be vegan here. But sometimes companies or brands change ingredients in their food because of regulations in the different companies or countries. So do Google Translate. It can be very long and boring, but in the end it will be helpful. Even if you think it's vegan and you check and it is vegan, better to know than for it to not be vegan and then be mad at yourself. Tip number 3, I found this very shocking, but local smaller burger joints often have vegan burgers, homemade or store-bought, but they often do. Not all, I'm not saying all at all, but a lot do, most will, and that shocks me. And if you travel to, I know Europe for sure, they have a ton of vegan options everywhere. Not every restaurant, but most places do have vegan options. And Asia, I was very surprised, but when I traveled there, I went to a ton of different countries in there, and I could find vegan options every single place I went. I never went hungry, so that was surprising. Those are the only 2 places, in America, but those are the only 3 places I can vouch for that have vegan food for sure, but I know everywhere does, so that's fine. Tip number 2, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Always have one with you in a baggie, because you can just go to a store, buy peanut butter and buy bread, and maybe jelly if you want, and then you just make it in the morning, put it in a bag, and bring it with you. And then if you go somewhere without vegan options, when you can then have a meal, and it just really eases the stress of oh my god, I need to find food, because you have something with you that you can eat if you can't find anything. So that is very helpful. And if you don't like peanut butter and jelly, you can find another sandwich that doesn't need a refrigerator, and then you can just bring that with you, just suit your taste buds. And tip number 1, this is the most important tip, and in my opinion the most helpful. Ask questions. Don't be afraid. People will not judge you, and it can be a little awkward sometimes, and sometimes the people aren't the most knowledgeable, but majority of the time they are knowledgeable. And going with ask questions, you can also look it up, look up menus in advance and then see if they have vegan options, so you can just be aware of what you will be eating. And with asking questions, most of the time the people are very helpful, and they are mostly very well educated, which I was surprised about, on their menus. And they told me like what could be vegan if I substituted what and how. And it's very surprising to me, but they were so sweet whenever I asked. So it can be a little like scary and kind of not wanting to do it. But I promise you, asking questions will pay off because, again, you won't be eating something that you don't want to be. So those are my tips for traveling vegan in a non-vegan family. I really hope this video helps you and eases some of the stress of traveling vegan. And I hope you have a great day. Bye!